The start of Mattioni Services is when, after World War II, my dad came back and he started to get an education in radio and TV repair. And it turned out that when he got back for his second semester or whatever, he was told that they had bad news, and he says the transistor has been invented. I'm going to start all over again. So at that particular time, he got involved in the plumbing business. In the early 50s is when he acquired this place, started working on it, and then started running the shop out of the house and the barn.
And pretty much he had one truck, and he would park it in that barn, and all his inventory was in the barn, and my father never threw anything away. And back in the day, you would fix things rather than replace things. And as times moved on, though, that changed, that type of thing. In the beginning, my mother would answer the telephone, and for the most part, my father would probably check in maybe once during the day or not at all during the day. And eventually, when he started to employ us, roughly when we were in second grade, pretty much if you left the bedroom and came down to the kitchen, you were at work.
Early on, we were pretty much, we'd either be holding the drop cords with the light on the end of it so Dad could see what he was doing, or holding the trash can when he opened the clean out plug on a clogged sewer pipe.
Yeah.
So we got some showers in the past.
I think what I remember about Dad retiring, I think he walked into the house and says, "Okay, I'm done. Here, you can have that truck."
I don't even think it was that, Dave. I think personally, we came down from the bedrooms to the kitchen, and Dad showed up at the kitchen and he said to us, "I'm done." And we would say, what do you mean you're done, Dad? He said, "I'm 65 today, I'm retired, I'm done. You want it, you take it." And
So one truck with tools in it.
right.
And some small customer base.
My mother used to answer the phone, and she really didn't like it. She made it clear that she wanted to retire too. But then we got an answering service and she was offended because that job was taken from her. And then that's when my wife Terry would take over the calls every hour. She would check in with the answering service. But of course, it was just not just taking over the calls, it was taking over the answering of the phones and sending out the bills and dealing with the supply houses.
Started hiring employees.
Yeah, we started adding employees to the mix.
And one of the reasons we started like the way we did is the customers would say, "Well, Dave or Chuck or Greg, I need to get you to my house. You know, I have a problem." We would tell them, "Well, look, we're a week behind. Maybe we're 10 days behind." And they said, "Well, we can't wait." So then that kind of the customer base actually forced us into hiring employees. And then from there, that's just the way it kept going.
When I came to the company in 1993, there was probably about 5 plumbers working here, and Dave and Chuck were both in the field. Greg worked for Pico full-time, but did all the paperwork in the evenings. So it was nothing for him to bring his briefcase to an after-work event or to a Christmas party to help do some billing stuff or catch up on billing.
Then we needed to expand more, so we decided we had to hire an architect, and we're going to put a floor above the garage, and then expand the offices, put a little addition on.
But the truth is, Greg, Dave, and I, we were truly working owners. We were in the trenches right beside our employees, setting the pace, setting the standard, and that's, I think, really what got us off the ground and made us quite successful, because every one of those fellas that we put out on their own operated under us for several good years, 3 or 4 years, and then we would turn them loose.
I came here after 5 years working somewhere else thinking I knew a lot, and I found that I didn't know half of what I probably should know. And Dave and Chuck both brought me under their wing and took me under their wing and taught me what I should know nowadays. They treated everybody like a family, which I really liked the family atmosphere. I had no idea I'd be here as long as I did. Thought it was a stepping stone to my next path of my career, and ended up being here for 30 years now. So.
So I started working here Really, it was one of those things like growing up with my childhood nights, being on the road with my dad, weekends, a lot of like summertime. This was like my summer job growing up. Transitioned to a full-time role after college.
I thought that David, really, you had a lot to do with mentoring Michael in the way Michael would do things. And he certainly, Michael learned the trade from David.
When I joined the company, I came in and I was a plumbing apprentice essentially at that point. And then as time went on, I started to move into more like administrative roles. Like I started to take over the marketing. I started to run the call center. I started to run the warehouse. So as time came on, more and more responsibilities got bolted on. So when Greg, Dave, and Chuck officially left the company, the one thing we really tried to latch on to was the values that they instilled. I was here for 9 years at that point. We had team members that were with us for 20, pushing 30 years. So a lot of those values from Greg, Dave, and Chuck were kind of passed down, and that values are very important to us.
I think it's been great to see the transformation, from Mattioni's, from where they were first generation to where they're at today, and the steps that were taken to get to where we're at now. And I look forward to what the next 10 and 15 years bring. So looking forward to the other transformations.